If I'm Kris Knoblauch, I call 97 into the office and I say, you decide. Okay, let's talk game 4. Kris Knoblauch says, I should note, he doesn't say who the starting goaltender will be for game 4. Now, we saw in practice yesterday that Stuart Skinner was in the starter's net. We know the facts about Stuart Skinner, that he has not had a great series. He has certainly been outplayed by Sergei Bobrovsky, and he was no good in that game 3 loss in which he allowed 5 goals. We also know that he is the GOAT in game 4s, and that Calvin Pickard, with the exception of that relief duty on Monday, has not played recently. So it seems silly to ask if the Oilers should consider a goalie change, but I'm actually kind of asking that question. How are you?
I think no, and like emphatically no. Stu is obviously the game 4 thing is awesome for the Oilers and for Stu. But when I look at what happened in game 3, I put a very small or equal percentage on blame for Stu there. I said that very clumsily. I put a very small and equal percentage of blame on Stu as the rest of the players wearing the uniform in game 3. Everyone sucked, including Stu.
Yes, but, and I'm not saying, I'll get to how I would consider a change. I'm still obviously leaning Stu, but Stu, as we know, has 2 speeds. And you know, like when he's on,
I honestly don't think that's true anymore.
Really?
Yeah, like
you think he can be just okay?
I think he can be okay.
All right, well, that makes me feel better, I guess. But I guess the 2 speeds are possibly the best goalie in the planet and definitely not the best goalie in the planet. And that's a huge, like, definitely not the best goalie in the planet can mean like the 5th best goalie on the planet, which I don't think I've ever seen him be the 5th best goalie on the planet.
No.
I've seen him be the best, or I have seen him be very unremarkable.
And what I'll say is, like, when he's okay, I think you're just waiting for him to turn into either the best goalie on the planet or the worst goalie on the planet. Sometimes it just doesn't happen.
But when he doesn't have it, do you see him then lock in? Like over the course of a game, we talked about this. You're like, Bob looks good, right? Bob looks good this game. And I was like, yeah, but Bob does have the thing where he can lose it over the course of a game. Stu is pretty much like, does he start off bad, allow 2 in the first period, and then say, okay, no more? Like when he allows 2 in that first period, I'm like, there's probably another one coming, you know? But this is the way I would consider it. And this is sort of clickbaity the way I'm going about this, because I still would go Stu in game 4. If I'm Kris Knoblauch, I call 97 into the office and I say, you decide. You know, just because you're so close. You are so close to winning the Stanley Cup. You just need 3 wins. So you say, like, look, we'll figure out what we do in game 5 for game 5. But for this game, because, sorry, Connor, earmuffs, I, Kris Knoblauch, do not think you are going to win 3 games in a row again against this team. You need to win this game. What do you need? What do you have a read of the room, I hope. What do you think will get these guys to not be the assholes that they were in game 3? And if he says, you know what, we're going to defend a little tighter, we're going to be a little more on our P's and Q's if we have the backup goalie in there, I say fucking fine.
I mean, I listen to him. I don't let him make the decision. I think that's setting a bad precedent. I know it's Connor McDavid. I know that he's a guy that you kind of want to hand the world to, but Kris Knoblauch's got a job to do, and he should do his own job.
Sean made a face.
No,
I was in a while. Sean was agreeing.
I was nodding in agreement with Pete. Yeah, I just hate the idea of having one guy make that decision. When I know it's
I like the idea of having one guy make that decision, but the head coach should be that guy.
Yeah, it should be the guy whose job that is. And like, I know it's Connor McDavid. He's not the best player on this team, or he wasn't this year. So like, I don't feel like it's. I don't feel like that's fair to like the other leaders on this team. Yeah, I mean, I also just think even considering starting Calvin Pickard is a little ridiculous. I think you just clearly have to play Skinner. The only argument that I would listen to is that you kind of know what you're getting with Calvin Pickard. Although I also agree with Pete in the sense that like I think we're at a point where you more or less know what you're getting with Stuart Skinner. But yeah, you just can't, like we've talked about, it's a more or less a must-win game. Can't afford to lose it. So if you feel like there is a chance that after what you've seen over the last 2 days, Stuart Skinner might not be where he needs to be mentally, you can't take the risk of starting him. But assuming that's not the case, I think you have to play Stuart Skinner.
I don't think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous to start Calvin Pickard. I think that should be on the table. But I think by starting Calvin Pickard, it's to send a message to the rest of the team that you need to play better in front of whoever's in net. And the Oilers have shown to this point that they don't need the goalie change to inspire them that way. Like that, this is a team that is capable of flushing and resetting from one game to the next. And I don't think that you need to pull a goaltender in order to send that message.
Great point. And I know that, was Pickard healthy yet? But after game 1 against Dallas, people were doing the stupid, boy, like McDavid's going to leave the Edmonton Oilers because of Stu Skinner after that team-wide meltdown. And then what happened the next game? Stu gets a shutout. 2 games after that, he allows 1 goal each. So I agree. It is a team-wide thing. And I was playing a bit of devil's advocate there because I definitely go with Stu. I give him a short leash, and I said that yesterday, and someone said, well, what good is a short leash if he allows 2 goals? If he allows 2 goals and you're down 2-0, are you serious? You think the Oilers can't come back and win that game?
I mean, that was the thing after the second period of
They came back in game 1.
But I mean, like after game 3, when it was something that Olchek pointed out, was like, you guys started being assholes, but you were very much in the game, and you were down 3 goals.
Yeah,
like you're the Edmonton Oilers.
It's just, I keep going back to the Mr. Game 4 thing, and like I feel like that shouldn't matter, but at some point, like the numbers are so crazy that you can't ignore them, right? Like he's 6-0 with like a .955 save percentage in game 4, averaging like 1.5 goals allowed per game.
Yeah,
there's something there, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if you want to like believe in that. But it's there, and I don't think, and like if you put in Pickard and he sucks, you're gonna face that question so often. I just feel like you gotta play Stu in game 4, and then if he loses game 4, then you can make the switch to Pickard. And maybe it's too late at that point, but I feel like you gotta lean with the numbers, and you gotta lean with the guy who's kind of gotten you there.
Stuart Skinner has been so good in game 4s that I have been confusingly looking up why does he only have a .955 save percentage? What was the game that he allowed goals? Like I just checked now. I was like, was it game 4 in the first round against the Kings last year? No, he had a shutout. I don't know when it is that he's allowed, say, 2 goals in a game 4, if ever. So you have to go with Stu. And if you lose that game, and you did not play Mr. Game 4, and you just didn't play your best roster, which you could argue they don't do anyway because they don't play Jeff Skinner, but that is big time people question the coach time.
Yeah.
So got to be careful there. Although I will tell you, Knobblock said that there probably will be a lineup change. It's expected to be Troy Stetcher in for John Klingberg. I love that. I feel very, very bad for John Klingberg because he's been awesome this postseason, but like I said,
until game 3, he was horrible in game 3.
Had a really bad game 3, and you're 3 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup. Like you have to pull.
Rumpus time is over.
Rumpus time over.
Yeah. More importantly than your 2 losses away from losing your 2nd straight Stanley Cup.
Right.
Like you can't fuck around.
We don't. I think of it as the glass is 2/7 of the one. What would it be? 1/7 of the way full versus 2/7 of the way empty.
Not in the mental space to be doing that kind of math right now.
We all silly like the mayor.